Hello, everyone. Little unannounced live stream here. And I'm going to try and get the live chat up. Okay, so should organize that a little better, but I was just listening to myself. Share my screen. And hello, Requiem for a Dream. I'm going to try and pay attention to live chat for questions, but I'm not going to have anybody else in. And I know I do this from time to time, but I didn't have a lot of time to put together a video on this, but I've been wanting to make introductions to Walter Bislin's blog in case anybody hasn't seen it. It's a really great piece of work. And I guess the best thing to do is just show you. But there's a blog by Walter Bislin, and this is the URL. I will add that to the description. But he has a number of really cool animations, and one of them that he's just recently done is the causeway animation, which is this one here. And it's pretty nice. I mean, he's done a lot of work, obviously. Walter has put in just, I can't even imagine how many hours he's put into this. But I think Walter can correct me if you'd like to, but I think Walter built this from scratch. And it's just basically a mock-up of the causeway with these little 2D geometric shapes, and I don't know how he stitched it all together. I actually been meaning to look into how he does it, but it's pretty cool. And he has a number of different views of different pictures that I've taken. And I will let everyone else go ahead and check that out. I don't want to ruin it by playing the whole thing here, but he has this whole animation that he goes through for the causeway. He also he had another causeway one, but this one is basically observations specifically related to, or this is animation specifically related to my observations. And he has links to a number of my observations here. And he also has the Little Tenses Bayou here, which is another one that he did a really good job on. And this one pretty much mimics the elevator video that I did. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's really good. And the way it matches this is spot on. I mean, Walter's done an amazing job. I can't say enough about how much work he must have put into this, and really got everything right. But definitely a cool thing to have, especially because you know, we like to have a model of the globe and see the predictions that it would make, and this actually gives us the opportunity to make predictions on what we should see as far as observations go. I actually was thinking to use this to make some predictions on the experiment that me and Jesse are going to be doing in December. Jesse's going to be coming out. And anyway, just wanted to reintroduce Walter. I know some people already know about this blog, but I wanted to just make people aware of it, have people go look at it, use it whenever you're battling the nimwits out there. And I'll also put a little post on Twitter about this. And each of my observations, they go along with the model predictions, or at least two of them. He has a couple. These are just the two that I use for this particular Twitter post. But it's pretty plain to see that these predictions match the observations spot on. So worth checking out. I also wanted to just kind of remind everybody about the numerous observations that I've made, and from all different types of angles. This is one of my favorites because I took this wide angle, this not wide angle, but this less shallow and a little bit further away from the causeway angle here, where you can see the water curving from all the way back here at mile 2.2, curving all the way past the horizon. This is mile 8 here. So pretty cool. Pretty cool that we can see the water actually curving right here on the base of the bridge. A lot of naysayers want to say, well, the bridge is curved, which it isn't. This deck is all the same altitude. It's all the same elevation off the water. But regardless of that, this water line is clearly curving. And you can just extrapolate, that this is the same altitude by some just basic pixel measurements. So moving on, I have a couple private photo albums that I've just put together to kind of illustrate the robustness, I guess, of these different observations. Starting all the way in the very beginning, this is whenever I was taking pictures with my 300 millimeter lens with the Rebel, and this is all the way back in May, and it's in the thousands now, guys. I've just got so many pictures. It's actually hard to keep track of these pictures at times. So whenever somebody brings something up and I'm like, I got a picture for that, but not quite sure where it is. That's kind of why I've created these photo albums, so I can kind of scan through them pretty quickly and get an idea on just, get an idea on a particular picture that I'm looking for. Just got so many pictures. This is the first album, and Little Texas Bayou. This is some stuff I did out on Lake Pontchartrain. This is the east side of Lake Pontchartrain, Causeway, obviously. And it's a mixed bag, a lot of hazy days mixed with clear days, mixed with rainy days, mixed with sunny days. So it's just a mix, and every single time you go out there, there's the curve. These are some really cool observations, actually, of New Orleans being obstructed by Lake Pontchartrain. This is from the kind of the northwest side over by Laplace, Rudock, or Ruddock, and or I think it's actually pronounced Rudock. Also have some nighttime shots mixed in, some sunrise shots, just a whole bunch of stuff. Just so much that I really can't cover it all, quite honestly, in videos. But yeah. Anyway, a lot of you guys have seen some of this stuff already, but it's just a lot of stuff. A lot of things. And for the flat earthers, go here. Lakeway 1, this little parking garage right next to the Marriott. Go up to the top of that parking garage with your P900, take pictures. If you do, you will become a globe earther. That's all there is to it. Little Texas Bayou at night. I have a pretty cool picture in here somewhere where Dandy was actually parked on the far end, lighting up the pillars with his lights from his truck. Anyway, somewhere in there. Little Texas Bayou, Little Texas Bayou, the Causeway. Yeah, the Causeway at night from the North Shore. This is the Marriott right here, the top of the Marriott being obstructed by the horizon. Horizon's right here. And this is all reflection. And actually have some daytime shots of the Marriott like that. Yeah. Okay. So I have that one. I have the Causeway 2 or the Curve 2. It's another folder that has pretty much my best observations in it because of the fall being here now. This being one of them. I mean, it can't get too much clearer than this. There's a little bit of turbulence going on back here that makes this a little bit foggy, but I mean, you can see the cars are pretty clear. These little huts back here are actually behind the arms. So anyway, let me pop over to the live chat and see what's going on over there. Let me see here. All right, Sally, hello. Hello, Sebastian. Hello, Andy. Hello, everybody in the chat there. Hello, Jared. Let's see if I can catch up these comments here. Good morning, Oxy. Jared. FBI agent Liley. Nighttime and daytime shots. Yes, I have a lot of nighttime shots, Jared. Some of them, you know, come out. Some of them don't. Most of them don't because I just don't have fast enough camera or fast enough lens. I'm trying to remedy that. I would like to get one of the Sony Alpha series that have more sensitive sensor. And it's also a mirrorless camera, so I can take nighttime shots without any shake in the telescope. I'm probably going to do that come Christmas time. I don't know. I've been saving up some money, but I'm just not sure which one I want to get yet, and it's going to depend on the deals that happen during Christmas time. Obviously, I'd like to have the best one I can get, but the budget requires me to be practical. And let's see, the Bayou is a great location. Yes, I do agree with that. Want to see some nighttime video? I do have some nighttime video there, but unfortunately, the video is even slower than the, you know, with the photographs I can do a long exposure. The video is just pretty much black, so you don't really see much of anything. It would be nice to get, like I said, a more sensitive sensor. The Sony Alpha series has a number of sensors that are already, even their lower end models, have a more sensitive sensor than my Rebel does. But the higher end models have some pretty amazing sensors where you can pretty much take video at night. So I would like to get one of those, but you know, it's going to depend on budget. So we'll see. And let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Everybody else just chatting amongst themselves there. If you guys ever want to see like a specific picture, or you know, if you play back these videos and you see some specific pictures that you'd like me to share, I'll be happy to. I just, you know, I'm not going to share all these. I mean, that'd be ridiculous, it's like overkill. So, yeah, just hit me up. I'll give you whatever picture you want for the most part. I like to hold on to the raws, unless somebody really wants them. I'll give them to them. I mean, hopefully one day I'll be able to put some of these on, you know, canvas or something. That'd be nice, but I might need a better camera before I do that. Let's see. Nighttime shots. So yeah, I have a lot of nighttime shots of the causeway just because it's easy to set up at the causeway. There is a parking garage, like I said, beginning here. There's a parking garage right in front of the Marriott, and I would like to get into the Marriott, quite honestly, because that building goes up a little higher. I could potentially see further, and based on some of Walter's animations, you know, based on some of Walter's animations, I should be able to actually see even more curvature further away. But I just haven't got to that altitude. Another suggestion that was made to me by Walter was trying to get a DSLR on a drone. They do have drones that can handle that. They even have 5-axis stabilization for those. Um, not exactly sure my way forward on that yet because it's going to take me um, probably renting a cinematographer to do it. Somebody that already has that gear because the gear is really expensive. So there's no practical way for me to purchase it. But I'm sure there has to be a cinematographer in the New Orleans area that has one of these drones that can handle a DSLR. So that's research for the new year. Hopefully, I can put something together for that. That would be nice. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. So yeah, maybe first quarter next year I'll be looking into that. Trying to get it before the winter's over would be nice. Um, so back to chat over here. Let's see. People just chatting amongst themselves. What's this link that Requiem sent? No, asteroid. Yeah. A new moon. Interesting. We'll have to look at that after this. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Just kind of wanted to, give everybody a brief overview of the photographs that I do have and the videos I do have. It is a lot. It's in the thousands now. So, and there's a lot of stuff I'm sure you guys haven't seen. Somehow my kid's homework got in the mix. Let me see if I can find anything cool that you might not have seen. Where was that picture? Causeway. Lots of pictures of the Causeway these days because it's just such an easy location to get to. I mean, you can drive right up to it, park in the parking garage, take a bunch of pictures, get back in your car and be on your way. Little Tennessee Bayou is pretty easy as well. It's a little bit further. But it's not. It's actually closer than the Causeway, to be honest. I just like the Causeway and Little Tennessee Bayou. I think those are two of the best locations, quite honestly. I mean, everybody knows the transmission lines, but the transmission lines are a very hard location, difficult location. And since there are other locations that are easier to get to and show just as much curvature, I just spend a lot of time at those locations whenever I have a free moment. Here's that same video right here that I was showing you earlier. This was actually a pretty cool day because they had these blinking yellow lights on the top across the tenth of a mile markers, and kind of outlines the curvature there. These are some really dark shots. These were underexposed on accident, actually. That's actually a really nice shot right there. You can look at this one up close here. Yeah. So you can see how the yellow lights are all lighting up on top of the signs. Clear curvature there. Anything else that's worth mentioning? I'm just kind of winging it here, obviously. Looking at stuff. Got a couple WhatsApp photos in there I need to remove. Yeah, these are some of the best shots of the transmission lines because they were taken from about 1.5 feet, 2 feet above the water. In the water, we were actually in the water. These shots right here, me and Dandy were. And if you use Walter's little app, you can actually zoom in to this exact spot like this and see that from about a meter above the water. I think it goes down to a meter in his app. These are the Dr. Zach transmission lines here, the ones that he liked to claim I was using, which I wasn't. However, if you did use them, you can still see the curvature here before they turn to the right. They could turn to the right down here. And realizing that, I went out beyond those and took some pictures from the other side, which is, you can see me in the water there. That's what I was doing. If anybody was driving by, they're probably like, what is that nut doing in the water with the camera? Oh man, it's hilarious. Let me see if I can find those pictures from the other side. Here we go. Here they are. Yeah, these are the Dr. Hack transmission lines. Still clear curvature, still being obstructed by the horizon. They haven't turned yet. There's actually a weird transmission line that has like a weird shape to it. It's kind of doesn't have the crossbars and stuff. I'm not even quite sure what it is. You can see it right here, and that's before it turns to the right. And you can, if you look right here, you can see the line turning to the right. So all this obstruction right here is the horizon, and you can see that this line is curving down. This line's curving down. This line's curving down. It's not as far, you know, the line of towers is not as far, that they don't go straight for as far, but still pretty long. Still, you can still see the curvature in them. Not as obvious as the other ones, obviously. There's actually an interesting picture in here where you can look underneath one of these and see a building being obstructed by the horizon as well. Like I said, I have so many pictures that I just haven't taken the time to look at all of them. Oh, here you go. Look, here's the Dr. Zach transmission lines right here. Look at that curve. Look at that. Man, hasn't even turned to the right yet. Turns to the right after that odd shaped transmission line, which you can see on Google Earth. And you can see them turning. They're turning here. That's them in the background right there. So yeah. So for all the flat derpers that like to bring up the curving transmission lines, well, I don't. So what? The part that's not curving is still curved. It's curved to the left, mind you, away from the curve to the right, further down. Yeah, those are some pretty cool ones. These are some cool ones here too. We're looking in between the pylons that are holding up the transmission lines. Yeah, those shots are pretty neat. Here's a good one. Nah, it's not a good one. Blurry. Trying to have a good one in there. Oh, it's still blurry. Just so many pictures, man. This is actually underneath I-10. This is where we actually took the kayak to this area right here, and this is underneath I-10. I-10 is also straight and curving right here. Obviously not as dramatic because it's not as much distance, but definitely got a curve going there. And when you're there with your, just standing in the water looking at this stuff, it's like plain as day. You can see it with your eyes. You can see it with your eyes, and it's pretty dramatic. See if anybody said anything to me. They are not the same height. I'd like Dr. Zach's transmission lines photos. You like Dr. Zach's transmission lines photos? Oxy says they are not the same height. What? What's not the same height? The transmission lines are definitely, the transmission towers are definitely the same height. Dr. Hack. What is the darker rectangle on the horizon? Those are buildings. Those are New Orleans skyscrapers, or not really skyscrapers in New Orleans. They're more like high rises. But those are New Orleans high rises, hotels, condos, stuff like that, that are being obstructed by the horizon. Can you get someone to kayak down the bayou to see him disappear and then reappear as you move up the slope? Yeah, me and Dandy have tried to make plans to do something like that, but before we could even get those plans underway, Jesse's going to be coming out here. Got a boat lined up. I'm going to actually be doing a test run this weekend to see about some of the things we're trying to do. Don't want to ruin exactly what we're doing. Suffice to say that we're going to be doing a recreation of the Bedford level, but we're not going to tell you exactly how we're doing that. We're just going to let you see the movie or see the video when it comes out. But that will be happening. He'll be doing the measurements, I'll be doing the photography, and we'll both be doing the legwork to get it set up. And Dumbledore 115 asked, what the F is this about? This is just a quick introduction to Walter Bislin and his models of different observations related to the flat Earth conjecture. And there are a number of observations of the causeway that I've made that he basically tours through by flying through his model. His model is the representation of the globe. It shows what we should expect to see based on the globe model. My observations validate that model. And that's pretty much it. I mean, game over. There are no other models that have been presented that can explain my observations. And the one model that is the conventional model that has been presented and works for everything actually predicts my observations, and my observations match. Pretty much it. Game over, you would think. But unfortunately, even baby food cannot be consumed by the flat earthers. I don't know why. It's really some type of mental challenge they're going through. All right, let's see. Soundly, if the sun disappears by perspective, how is it that it does not diminish in apparent size when it is observed with the solar filter? Question for the flat-tards. Yeah, that's a good question. Why does the sun set at all on a flat Earth? That is also a good question. And how does the sun get below the clouds? Another great question. The answer is it can't. Back to the photos. Let me just skim through some more of these. See if there's anything interesting to look at. Interesting little side note here. We had set up on this little, I don't know what you want to call it, rock bar. That's pretty much what it is. And we had unloaded all our gear on there, and we decided that we were going to go out near the transmission line. So we left most of our gear there, went out towards the transmission lines. And when we came back, we barely beat the tide. Lake Pontchartrain does have tides. It has like 18-inch tides, but it's enough to hit the top of these rocks. So our gear was getting wet whenever we got back, which was not fun. Um, yeah, fun experience, let me tell you. A funny experience, I should say, after the fact. More transmission lines, more transmission measurements of the altitude of I-10. Let's see here. Yeah, should just skip ahead, I think. Got some pretty cool pictures of the sunrise. That was all Dandy's doing there. Nice pictures. There was also Earthshine whenever we first took off. Really, really nice Earthshine. Looks still super dark there. And okay, so these are the observations that I wanted to show whoever it was who was asking about the rectangle. Yes, the moon does not change either. The moon's apparent size changes as predicted by the globe. It actually changes because um, the um, the radius of the Earth actually is significant enough compared to the distance of the moon that it does factor in a day to where it does change slightly in one day. You can see it, but you have to, you can't see with your eyes, but you have to measure it. But you can measure it. Unlike the sun, you can't do that. At least not with a normal telescope. You might be able to do it with some of the bigger ones. Who was it that was asking about? I can't remember now who was asking. Who was asking about the rectangles on the horizon? Anyway, I can't remember who was asking about the rectangles on the horizon, but place. Okay, I'll look at that in a second, Sebastian. So the rectangles on the horizon, let's go back to that real quick. Here they are, rectangles on the horizon. These are buildings in New Orleans. That's what we're seeing there. And if I recall correctly, I think this is the Marriott. And there's a tall building over here. See if we can get it in frame. So this tall building right here is, I believe, the airport, what's it called? Air traffic control tower. And somewhere up in here is the Superdome, but it's down here. We can't see it because it's obstructed by the horizon. You can look that up in Google Earth. If you do Google Earth and do a fly across, you can see where the Superdome is. See that it's obstructed by the horizon. And so I did a couple things while I was at this location. I went down by the water, which you can see here. And then I went up on top of this riprap, which was probably a 20-foot difference between the two observation heights, maybe 15 foot. But just in that difference, you can see like massive obstruction changes. You can kind of see it here if you just look at these photos. And I think I'm actually climbing down right here in this video. Yeah. Trying to handhold a P900 at full optical is not easy. But that's, yeah, I think that's what I'm doing right here as I'm climbing down. You can see the obstruction getting more and more intense. This is Rudock. I actually had to go 2 miles down a railroad track to get to this location. That was not an easy one. That's where I did the pan across the transmission lines from the 90-degree angle. If you guys remember that video where I show the curvature from the 90-degree angle. And let's see what else we got going on here. Anything interesting? Rainbow. Yeah, this kind of gives you an idea. It's actually a lot higher than it looks right here. So I put my camera down in this water right here, and or like right above the water, and then I climbed to the top of the riprap, put my camera on the top of my tripod, and took a picture. That's how I got the two different heights. Or causeway. We're going further and further back in time here. This is the North Shore. So I'm looking from the North Shore here, this video. Obviously a lot of atmosphere going on that day, but you can see right here, this is the Marriott Hotel being obstructed by the horizon. This is right next to the causeway. Down here, there is a parking garage, there is a levee. So this is lots of obstruction, like the ground's down here somewhere. Anything else going on? So, Sebastian, I'm just going to give you a wrench. So it's hard for me to look over here. Are those on the right of the causeway? There is one long rectangle there. And Google Maps would be nice and descriptions. I'm not sure how to say your name. Jesso King Christ. Jesso King Christ. Jesso King Christ. I have typically added GPS coordinates to a lot of my observations. I haven't done it lately. I can go back and look at those videos and see see which raw videos there are and try and add some coordinates. But suffice to say that this observation here is from the North Shore, and actually I'll just go ahead and show you in this video here exactly where it's at. So just go ahead and answer your question. It'd be easier to do it like this, and I can go back and add stuff later. So here's Lake Pontchartrain, here's the causeway, this is the North Shore, it's Mandeville. And on the North Shore, there is this, this is the toll, the Causeway Toll Complex right here. We'll put it on satellite mode. And I typically take pictures from here off of this little, there's a concrete pad right here, which is nice and level, so I just set up my gear there and take pictures. And then I'll try and usually go over here somewhere and set up and take pictures. And these coordinates are, there you go. There are the coordinates. So I'll just go ahead and copy that and paste it to you in the chat. There you go. It's a video made in Spain. Sebastian, I've given you a wrench. You should be able to paste the full link. Go ahead and do that. It'll make it easier for everybody else. And I will take a look at it after this. I'm just kind of doing a quick summary, I guess, of all the videos that I've taken. And this isn't all of them, actually. This is the majority of them. I'm sure I've missed a couple here and there. This is the levee that's right next to the causeway. I'll turn around here in a second. Let's skip ahead. Yeah, so this is a really, I guess not steep, not wide. It's not a wide angle. I guess it's a more a wider angle than I normally take. Unfortunately, there's a lot of haze that day, but yeah, it gives you a pretty good sense. And this, how do you pronounce the guy's name again? Jesso King Christ, or Christ, or however you say your name. So this particular picture, or this particular picture, and these videos that where you see that big hump, those are of the northbound lane. I'm taking the picture from the south shore, facing north, and I'm on the east side of the bridge because in the United States we drive backwards, and the right lane is where you drive. So that's the northbound lane we're looking at. And that hump right there is, and look, there you go. There's some GPS coordinates for you. And that hump right there is the 8-mile marine span right there. Looks like a roller coaster from this angle, but it doesn't feel like that at all when you drive across it. Just so many pictures. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. So I literally had my camera on the tripod and the little neck winch that you use to winch up the camera higher or lower. I was just using that, and it was revealing obstruction and basically the changing the obstruction just by that 1 foot difference. It just shows you how much, like, when people start talking about, flat earthers, they always like to talk about measurements and the globe predictions, and look, it should be 1,000 foot worth of hidden blah blah blah. They just don't understand obstruction for some reason, or the obstruction calculator, or how it works. One or 2 feet difference in an observer's height makes a big difference on the other end, or it can make a big difference on the other end depending on how far away that object is, how high that object is. I mean, look at this building here. Either that building is flooded or it's being obstructed by the horizon. Yeah, gonna go with obstructed by the horizon. Little Tenses Bayou. Lots of pictures of Little Tenses Bayou. Took some measurements that day. Never really put those measurements into practice though. So I'm glad Jesse's coming to December. He'll catalog it, man. He's really good about it. More transmission lines. This one was stylized by Google or something. HDR'd by Google. Magic. This one was taken at Flat Earth's end, right there. Coordinates right here. Laplace, Louisiana. You can find Flat Earth's end on Google Maps. In case you didn't know. Yes. And it's starting to get late now, so really thought I'd go through this a little quicker, but God, I just have so many freaking pictures. Even I forget how many there are. It's in the thousands now. You can definitely see the difference between, say, this day that was full of haze. You can see the difference like in the atmosphere, right? It's full of haze, right? However, if I go to, the curve 2.0, and I go to the same angle, I mean, way clearer. And that one was actually not the best one. I mean, that one's pretty clear. Way clearer that day. This is that first day that started to feel like fall for us. Of course, it got hot again. Just got cold again this weekend. This past weekend. Unfortunately, I couldn't go take photos. I had other obligations. But hopefully next weekend I'll be able to go take some more photos. Hopefully it'll be clear and cold, and I'll get even better pictures, because this even wasn't the best conditions. I mean, the best conditions is going to be now, wintertime, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get a really clear shot of the 12-mile Bascule, which is obstructed in the footage here, in this footage. You can actually see the Bascule right here. It's right here where my mouse is. That's the Bascule. Right there. That's the Bascule Tower. So I'm thinking during the winter, maybe from the Marriott, if I can get up a little higher, I'll be able to see that. And that would really show some nice curvature, I do believe. That's my theory. There's the Dr. Hack transmission lines, and from where I was located, their pylons were being obstructed by the horizon. Some night shots, and these are the ones I was using my telescope, and the wind was just crushing my telescope, so it just couldn't quite get a clear one, man. It was really frustrating. But you can see the 1/10 of a mile markers lit up by the cars as they're curving down over the horizon right here. To me, it's as clear as day. I mean, I wish the pictures were better. I wish they were better, like more art quality pictures or photographic quality. But I just didn't have the gear. I didn't have the gear for it. I'm gonna make it happen. I just don't know when yet. Lots and lots of pictures. This has got to be one of the best shots I've had so far. It's probably the best shot that I have so far as far as clarity goes. I was using the P900. Wind was kicking really bad against my telescope, so I had some issues. But if you look right here, you can see how even it's still too hot because the concrete is still too hot. And that's why you get this waviness. The waviness is from the concrete just heating up the atmosphere, and you're getting those waves. It's pretty clear right here. I mean, up here it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I mean, there's still some atmospheric turbulence going on, but I'm hoping that when the wintertime comes and everything cools down, everything's had a chance to cool down, that that turbulence will be a minimum. And you can see the Bascule right here. This is actually the Bascule Tower right here. Same thing we saw from the other side. You can even see the mirroring effect happening right here on these cars because of the heat coming off of this. I think it's because of the heat coming off of this hut right here. So really good shot there. Obvious curvature. And here's my setup. You can see I have my camera sitting on this wall right here. And this is on the top of the garage. And that's 5 stories down. So I was a little worried because the wind was kicking around a bit, but it seemed to be sitting there fine, so I just left it recording. Yep. This is in between the lanes here. This was my telescope, and like I said, the wind was just not playing nice. So every picture I took pretty much has blur in it. I think there's one good one in here somewhere. That one's not too bad. There's a couple of them that are okay. Blur, blur, blur. Actually, that's a pretty cool shot right there. You can actually see the arm. This is with my telescope, so it had a little bit more magnification on it than the P900. This is the arm sticking out in the water right here. And this is that Bascule Tower. At least I think that's what it is. It looks like it should be there. Yep, this is where I have my telescope set up. P900 on the wall. This is when I went to that east side of the bridge. This is the west side, looking at the southbound lane, looking at the huts, closer to water level. This is on the ground now, below the levee. This is in between the lanes with the P900. This is a crossover, just like this crossover here, at the same exact height as this crossover. And yet, there it is in the water, because it's obstructed by the horizon. All this on the second one is obstructed by the horizon. And for some reason, where's my GPS? Should be on here. It's not on there. I wonder if my GPS got turned off from my camera. Here's the Dr. Hack transmission lines. There you go. obstructed by the horizon, the pylons. Cracks me up, man. These guys. This is the Marriott. It's actually a pretty nice Marriott to stay in. So I take all my observations off of this garage right here. It's Lakeview 1 garage. Imagine if I could take a picture from up here. I mean, I need to get up there somehow. There's office buildings up there. So I need to get up there with my P900 and my telescope somehow. Take some pictures. Yeah. It's on the to-do list for the first quarter next year. And more night shots. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. But thanks everybody for joining. Let's see. Sebastian wants me to look at this video. I'm not sure if I should during my live stream, so I'm going to look at it afterwards, Sebastian. All right, guys. The idiot. West Side. West Side. I'm going to shut down. Thank you guys for joining. And again, this was really just about an overview of my observations so far and Walter Bislin's demos that he has of the causeway, which are just, the guy has outdone himself. He has put so much work into this. I know he has. And I, just want to give him a shout out, let people know, go look at this stuff. I mean, here are the predictions of the globe, and my observations validate those predictions. It's really that simple, and can't be made any simpler. It's like baby food. If you can't stomach baby food, then you have problems. You need to see a doctor. Thanks, guys, for joining me, and we'll see you later. Will I be filming the lunar eclipse? I plan to, yes. Unless it's cloudy, I will have my telescope on. Okay, now I'm shutting down. Thanks for coming.